we all go through the hard times of life, but it's coming out at the other end that matters.
You're watching the Spotlight Network. Starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford. Streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a powerful, emotionally charged story that blends biography with fiction and spirituality with suspense. The name of the book, The Ripple in Still Waters. It's written by a terrific author. She's joining us today. Her name is Monique Champagne. And the book is a heartfelt tribute to family, loss, and healing, rooted in true stories of hardship, faith, and resilience. This unforgettable debut follows Fiona, a young woman gifted with a spiritual connection with her deceased sister, as she navigates a journey of love, loss, and life-changing decisions. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Brookside Press for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Monique, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. This is an incredible story. It's a true story. It's fictionalized as well. What made you decide to share the story in a book?
Well, my father had quite a story for his life, and he didn't live long enough to tell it. So I kind of started the story in his memory of what he went through. But then I realized it was turning into a biography, and I wasn't really looking for a biography. So once Fiona left home, it's all fiction from there.
So it begins with reality and then goes into fiction. Tell us a little bit about your story, your father's story, and why it was so compelling.
Because he went through a lot of health issues, amputated legs, kidney transplant, lost his eyesight, all from diabetes. And I don't know, I didn't know where to start my story, so I started there. In his memory, and my sister also was born before I was. So I kind of made her the angel in the story. So, it gets interesting. It really does.
The communication between the sisters, one deceased, one living, is fascinating. Is that based a little bit on your reality? Have you been able to communicate a little bit?
No, maybe she's there. I don't know, but no, it's all fiction, that part.
It's all fiction.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful fiction. I think that's the wonderful part about fiction, is all the things that we hope of and dream of can become real in the pages of your book, right?
Well, it was nice to write with the both of them in the story because it was keeping them alive.
Yeah.
They were like reborn because they're alive in my story. So
Exactly. It's a hat tip to them. It's a wink to them that you're thinking about them and you still love and care about them, of course. Give the folks at home an overview of Fiona's story.
Fiona is the ripple in still waters. She's a live wire, mind of her own, always a go-getter, never still, never still. That's why there's a ripple in the still waters, So I did base the character on my childhood kind of, because that way there I could kind of keep all these characters straight. So she was a live wire. She left right after graduation to California with her girlfriend, and they made some good decisions, some bad decisions. They were very young and naive, and they saw them coming. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So it gets exciting because a lot happens in a small book, People that have read it that I know, they say, the way you wrote it, it was easy to read. I couldn't put it down. So that's why I had to make like a problem so that it keeps the reader interested. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
so I was successful in that part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just talked about good decisions and bad decisions. Are there lessons that you want readers to learn from Fiona's mistakes?
Trust in God, never give up, keep the
Mhm.
faith. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything's possible.
And California is the turning point in the story, right? For her
Yes.
journey. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that aspect.
Well, when she goes out there, she gets in some trouble. And the family, she was like the center of the family because she was the baby born after Tori. So she was like the center of their world. And then all of a sudden she leaves and they're all worried about her. They start not hearing from her. And she had gone out with her friend Rachel, and Rachel came home when she saw the trouble. So she was still in touch with Fiona to give the family some some news about what's going on with her. And when her friend came back, they worried more about her. So the brothers and the father, they took off on a trip to go see if they could find her. And a lot of things happened again. It's kind of exciting and kind of sad, but it's interesting. It
And that's
keeps
how
it up.
life is. That's how real
Yeah,
life is. It's kind of exciting. It's kind of sad. It's not like this. It's more like this life in real life.
it's
And that's
true.
what's wonderful about your book. It feels very, very real. A subject you explore, of course, is grief from a young child's perspective. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, Martha is the mother of Fiona, and when she was carrying Fiona, well, she was still mourning Tori. It was only a couple years before, so um, what was your question?
We're just talking about the lessons that can be learned from the exploration of grief in your book.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to go through the stages,
Yeah.
you do. Nobody can get around that part. If it wasn't for her guardian angel watching over her, it probably would have turned out even worse.
Yeah.
But it's a surprising ending, so I can't really
Exactly.
go
Don't give it
there.
away.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we do love the presence of Tori as a guardian angel in the story. It's a wonderful aspect of it. And, it's that theme of spirituality again that makes this book so compelling. Have you envisioned this as a film?
I would love that. My
Yeah.
God, they could really go places with the story,
Yeah.
because just the heaven part with Tori. I mean, they could go nuts. It's a good
Yeah.
it'd be okay with
Exactly.
me.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, they can
Then
do a lot. The movie making industry, of course, can bring a lot of the things from the page to life, but you've done the hard work. You've created the story. And so, Hollywood, if you're listening, here's a
the
book that's ready
sequel,
to
I'm working
go.
on the sequel.
Are you working on a sequel?
I am,
Tell
yes,
us
it's gonna
about
bring the
that.
whole story full circle.
Okay,
Yeah,
what happens?
I left an open ending on book 1 so
Right.
that yes. So, I
Okay.
love it, I love it, it's exciting. I mean, could go on and on when I'm typing out my
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yep. So
It,
in the second story, I also have some family members that have passed away that I'm bringing them to life in the
mm,
story. So that makes me feel good.
yeah,
It's
you
like
have
I
a
don't
little
want to
bit of
stop writing.
immortality there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
wonderful. That's wonderful. So how far into that second book have you gotten so far?
I would say about half to three quarters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds
Yeah.
good. And Ripple and Still Waters is your first book ever, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
Boy,
wonderful.
it took me a long time too. It wasn't until I couldn't work anymore that I actually had the time to work on this, because I have a
Right.
handicap. So it was a kind of a blessing in disguise, you know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
the man upstairs.
Exactly. Yeah, you never understand his plan exactly. And some things that look like a curse can be a blessing, like you said. And you've
Yeah.
certainly taken, your ability not to work and turned it into an ability to write. And I think
Yes.
that's beautiful. And what do you think your father and sister, if they could read this book today, what do you think they'd say?
Well, my father used to tell me, "You never cease to amaze me." It is a miracle that this book is actually published because it was a long road. It really
Mm,
was a long road. I took a writer's course for 8 months so that I could, kind of make sense with what I was writing, and it helped me tremendously. I mean, I got to apply it to my book, so I was happy about that because they say it's an easy read. So I'm glad I didn't like confuse anybody because boy, when it's flowing, it just wants to flood. you
right,
know?
exactly. Well, that's a good space to be in when the words are just flowing and the story is just coming along and you're kind of lost in that space and it feels like it's happening all around you. It's kind of a wondrous place to be writing. Once you experience that joy, you love being in that space. So I'm glad you're continuing with it. Is there a
Oh,
message for readers that you hope they walk away with after reading Ripple and Still Waters?
yeah. We all go through the hard times of life, but it's coming out at the other end that matters. You know, could be big problems, small problems. Nobody's excluded from that. And it just sometimes it's a long path you have to go down before you feel better about things that happen that we can't stop, things in life. Just when you think everything's smooth, bang, something else,
Exactly.
to just always be ready and don't think you're the only one. And if it takes you longer, it takes you longer. But the whole thing is, to work on healing,
Yeah,
really. I got a little bit of
exactly.
healing in writing it.
Yeah, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And
Exactly.
certainly life does turn on a dime, and we all have to be aware of that and count our blessings and be grateful for every day that we're given here on this beautiful earth. Well,
Yeah,
you've
for
done a
sure.
great job in reminding people of the wonderful gifts we have been bestowed by the Lord because this book is wonderful. It is called Ripple in Still Waters. It is a heartfelt tribute to family, loss, and healing, rooted in true stories of hardship, faith, and resilience. It's an unforgettable book that follows Fiona, a young woman gifted with a spiritual connection to her deceased sister as she navigates a journey of love, loss, and life-changing decisions. Monique, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and your wisdom. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.